And it seemed far more reasonable to me that if we're going to establish a belief on anything, if we're going to try and determine reality from fantasy and build beliefs and understandings, the best way to do that is to look for real evidence. Evidence, and that's not saying I have to see it to believe it. I mean, I haven't seen an atom, or at least not an individual one, blah, blah, blah. I've never been to Australia. I know it's there, at least in any sense that I could know. Establishing reasonable beliefs does not set you up for, I have to see everything in order to believe it. What you're doing is establishing a scale, a quality/quantity of supporting evidence to determine whether or not a belief's justified. The more unrealistic a claim is, the more exceptional the evidence to support that claim is. Sagan did the dragon in the garage? And it's kind of, if I tell you I just got a new pet dog, there's nothing in that claim that's exceptional. We know dogs exist. We know people keep them as pets, blah, blah, blah. It may or may not be true, and in this case it isn't because I don't have a dog anymore, but there's nothing that requires a great deal of evidence to support that. And the other thing is that whether or not you believe it doesn't fundamentally change your life. If you find out that I was wrong or lying, the foundations of your life aren't changed. But if I make the claim that I have a dragon in my garage, now all of a sudden we need to have really good proof. Because if a dragon existed and I had one as a pet, that would change everybody's lives. Because it's something new, which seems to contradict known evidence, and it needs the evidence to support it. So the process after setting aside Christianity, considering lots of other things, considering philosophical arguments, all that took several years, and there's not a one single argument that was the one which convinced me, or one single moment where I said, aha, I'm an atheist now. It was just one day after all of this, and I'm not even sure which day, I just said, I don't believe that stuff anymore. And the best thing I can say about it is that even after acknowledging I didn't believe it anymore and realizing that I identified myself now as an atheist, that I wasn't done looking at the issue. For some people, it's fine. Once you've made up your mind about it, there's no reason to really consider it anymore or discuss or debate it. For me, it was, there's no reason not to continue looking. It's an important question. Who wouldn't want to live on after death or experience, a heaven and avoid a hell? But it's not now, the quest isn't so much for confirmation of it. If confirmation ever shows up, I'm all for it. Now what I study is broader based things, because I have not only a strong desire to learn as much as I can about things, but I'm a little distraught by the fact that you could take me and another person who is a fundamentalist Christian, equally intelligent, supposedly equally reasonable, present both of us with all of the evidence that I've reviewed and evidence that I haven't gotten to yet, and one of us would end up rejecting religion and accepting, that they're now an atheist, and the other one would hold fast to their beliefs, in spite of everything. And the only way to describe that is faith. Faith being the belief in something without evidence to support it, or in the face of evidence to the contrary. And I don't feel, Don talked about faith last week. We talked about faith-based beliefs and why they're, unreasonable, unwarranted. So I don't want to necessarily go through all that again, except to say if there's some question that somebody puts before you and you're looking to find the answer and you have reliable evidence that points in one direction, to go the opposite direction just because it's the most comfortable to you is the exact thing that I'm trying to avoid, or have always tried to avoid since I began this. The purpose is to try to have a good understanding of reality as best we can. It's not any denial. Nothing ever happened that made me mad at God. I just simply stopped believing when it was no longer supported by any evidence or any faith in my head. But I've rattled on long enough, and you'll get to see me every week. So, the content of this video is produced by the Atheist Community of Austin, a nonprofit educational organization promoting positive atheism and the separation of church and state. If you enjoyed this content and are willing and able to provide a donation, please visit the website below.